Hi guys, and welcome to my informal tutorial on how to add your own custom skills to SkillTree. So SkillTree allows you to add your own custom skills using permissions from other plugins, such as Backpack or Cooking. So you can basically create your own custom skill, add a list of permissions that you want the player to unlock at different levels, and the player will get those permissions when they unlock the node. When they respec or when the plugin unloads, the permissions will all be revoked, so they lose access to whatever permissions they gained. So the plugin handles everything. So we're basically going to run a command in our console. You can do this in either your in-game console or your server console. It's called addtestperms. And what it'll do is it will add basically a perm to your system. So you can see a save new node called testperms in cooking trees. And what this will do is this will give you an example of the template they're going to be using for creating these custom nodes. So if you open up SkillTree, this SkillTree configuration file, navigate yourself to the cooking tree, and then scroll down to until you see testpermsnode. This has been newly added. We can see here where the snippet of config is. So basically, with this example, what we're going to do is we're going to create a skill that allows players to use the cooking plugin. Super simple. So basically it only requires 1 point. When players unlock it, they'll be able to gather ingredients and access the cooking menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a name for this. We're going to say, we'll call this one Chef. It's going to be the name of the skill. This is basically what's going to appear on here. We're going to set it to enable to true. That way it actually appears and gets registered as a skill. We're going to set the max level to 1, and we're going to make this a tier 1 skill because we want players to access this pretty early on. Now, because this is a permission-based skill, and because we're not really adding any values or any sort of modifiers per level, we're just going to leave this set at 1.0, or you can set it to 0, it doesn't really matter. And now we need to get some icons. So we can either do this via the icon URL or the skin, depending on what your server has the config for. But for example, if you don't have an icon, like an icon uploader, and you just want to use like Dropbox, you can set this value to 0 and add your URL here, and it'll force the icon URL to use this, even if the rest of the skills are still using the skins. So to basically create skills, I use a tool that I bought on CodeFling for like 10 bucks or whatever it was. I don't know what it is now, but called Custom Icons. So I'm just going to load this up, and what we're going to do is we're going to upload the little icon that I've created to the workshop to generate a skin ID. So I'm going to open up the file. We'll just use this one here. Now this needs to be at least 500 by 500. I use 512 by 512. Anything smaller and it just messes up. Just don't do it. So I'm just going to submit that to. We're going to specify a name. So we're going to call this one Cooking Example. Now we'll submit that to the workshop. Now what's going to happen is it's going to open up a new tab on our browser with basically with everything kind of visible. So I won't show you my browser because it's got some stuff on there that I don't want seen. But rest assured, it's opened up the Steam Workshop with a link to our URL. So what we're going to do is I've just copied that to my clipboard, and we're going to paste the new Steam ID here. So really, really simple. What we're also going to do, however, because we want the option to use Dropbox or upload it to a web address. So I'm just going to upload this over to my Dropbox. Grab the link, and we're just going to stick the link in there as well. And that way, if the server decides to use URL for whatever reason, we've got that covered too. So now we've got our images displayed. Now we need to change our description. So basically, what you want to do is you want to add a pretty freehand description of what each level is going to do. So this skill is required to use the cooking plugin. Super simple because it's just a one level skill. Whereas if I had multiple levels, I'd add level 1 does this, level 2 does this. Supports escapes such as \n if you wanted to add different lines and that sort of thing as well. So yeah, go nuts. And you can also add color, like the color tags as well with the hex colors if you wanted to colorize some of the words. But we're just going to leave it like that for now. Because this is just simply a level 1 skill, we're just going to have level 1. And this is the perms list here. Now, basically on the left-hand side, we've got the permission, and on the right-hand side is what's going to display here under the buff information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to cooking. I'm going to add 2 permissions in here. So cooking.use, and we're going to say, we'll call this one cooking access. And then I'm going to add a second one called cooking.gather. We'll call this one gathering access. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So we're just going to save this. We're going to reload the plugin. And we're going to open up the game and see what happens. So ST, go to cooking tab. We can see here our image is currently loading. There we go, we click on it. Chef, this skill is required to use the cooking plugin. Now if I just want to deploy barbecue, I don't get the menu when I open this up at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to level this up. You can see here we've got cooking access and gather access. And now I can cook like a master chef. Super easy. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to create a little bit more of a complex skill. So we're basically going to integrate the backpack plugin into into skill tree and show you how a multi-tiered skill works. So what we're going to do here is we're going to grab our example. So I'm just going to copy it. And I'm going to put myself in advantage so the animals don't kill me. We're going to go and put this under the scavenging tree. Because why not? So it's just going to scroll to the end of the scavenging tree, find out where the shredder perk finishes, and we're going to add, we'll call this one backpack or pack mule. Going to have it enabled. Now, because we want to have multiple levels with this, we're going to set this to level 5, because we want to have 5 different variations of the backpack. But realistically, you can set this to whatever you like. We're going to make this level, again, a level 1 buff, but again, you can make it level 2 or 3 if you wanted to. Now, the value per buff, again, is irrelevant because we're using permissions, so we don't really need to have a value per buff. What you could do as well is you could have, things like optimize recycling, where you have the recycler speed. You can have that as the key in the value, recycler speed in seconds, and you can also still have permissions attached to that as well if you wanted to add permissions, in addition to a skill. So that is an option, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to use permissions. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to leave the icon the same because we've already gone through how to make new ones. It doesn't matter if you reuse the same icons on different skills. So the icon URL is the same, skin URL is the same, but now what we're going to do is we're going to change the description. So we're going to say, this skill provides access to a backpack. We'll just say level providing 6 slots per level. So access, so command is backpack. We'll see if that works. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of these. So first things first, we want to change the permissions because obviously we're not working with cooking anymore. So we're going to add the permission required to use the backpack plugin, which is backpack.use, so we'll just say bag access. And then we're going to add our first size, which is going to be backpack size 6. So we're just going to pop that here. So we'll just say plus 6 slots. We'll just say 6 slots or 6 bag slots. So that's the easy part there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. We're going to add a comma and then add another one, which is level 2. Now because we so the way skill tree handles multi-tiered permissions is it will when level 1 is unlocked, it's going to assign everything that's here. When level 2 is unlocked, it's going to unassign everything in the previous levels and then assign these. So we still need to have backpack.use listed here, and then we need to add a new slot. So we're going to say a 12 slot backpack. And then we're going to repeat the process again. Level 3 is going to be backpack.use because we still want players having access to the bag. And then we're going to set this to 18 and give the player 18. And just basically rinse and repeat until you're happy with the amount of slots you're giving, however many slots backpack supports. So we're just going to say 24, 24, and then we'll do our 5th level because we've specified level 5, and we'll say 30. So what we're going to do now is we're going to save this, reload, and hopefully it works. Open up skill tree, go to our scavenging tree. We can see we've got our icon already preloaded. This skill provides a backpack providing 6 additional slots per level. We can see we've got our command here as well. Now if I level this up, you can see here it's got a maximum level of 5. Level up, we have access to bag access and 6 slots. So I go backpack, we've got 6 slots in here. Now if I go into permissions manager, look at the backpacks plugin, we can see here we've got size 6 and use permissions granted. Now if I go up to the next level, level 2, we've now been given 12 bag slots and bag access. So again, if I backpack, we've got the 12 slots there. Go into here, we've been given size 12, we've had size 6 revoked, and we've got size 12 unused. So let's just full send this and level it all the way up to max. We've now got 30 slots. Nope. 30 slots. I'm sure that's 30. And then we have a look at perms. And we've now got size 30 with use. So that's all there is to it. It's really simple. You can do some really powerful skills and some really cool stuff with other plugins. Works natively with pretty much anything, so long as it has a permission access. You've also got skills like cooking that actually have native support for skill tree as well, which I will show you now. Actually, why not? So we're going to go and open up our cooking configuration. We're going to go to skill tree. We're going to enable the integration, which it already is. Enabled. I'm going to reload cooking. And we're going to reload skill tree. So before I reload it, you can see here, cooking, queued new nodes, slow metabolism, master chef, and kenai. So if I reload, so if I actually save the server, so if I just do save, it's going to basically go through and write those nodes to our our cooking tree. Yep, there we are. So we've got some new skills. So we can see here we've got Master Chef, which is decreases the cooking time by 20% per level. Slow metabolism, which increases the duration of cooking buffs, and kenai, which increases the chance of finding ingredients. So this is a separate sort of modifier to the permission-based modifiers in the cooking config. So again, these are all kind of natively handled by cooking. So any changes you make to the cooking buffs on here will automatically synchronize with the config on skill tree and override the config on skill tree. So yeah, that's another example of how permission-based buffs can be used, and we've already got here was one of the skills there. Skill Epic Loot also integrates in the same way as well. So the plan is to, I'll be integrating more of my plugins into skill tree, but you don't really need devs to do it. So you can literally go and do it yourself with these cool permission-based plugin, permission-based integrations. So hope you guys enjoyed. Any questions? Feel free to hit me up. Yeah, enjoy.